For 10,000 years, humans have carved snakes into temple walls, written them into holy books, and called them the face of evil. And every single one of those snakes would have been prey to the things on this list. WONAMBI BARRIEI, 3 meters long, unremarkable at first glance. WONAMBI BARRIEI crept through the forests of early Miocene Australia around 20 million years ago, belonging to MADTSOIA, one of the oldest snake families on Earth, a lineage that outlasted the dinosaurs across every southern continent. It was small for its bloodline, but its skeleton tells a different story. Every joint, every vertebra was engineered for a single purpose: coil, compress, kill. No venom. No speed, just pressure, applied until nothing moved. You think primitive means simple. WONAMBI BARRIEI had already solved the problem that every snake after it was still working on. It built the blueprint. The snakes that came next just made it bigger. And the next one didn't just scale the body. It scaled the danger. LAOPHIS CROTALOIDES. At 3 to 4 meters, it looked almost manageable, but LAOPHIS CROTALOIDES weighed 26 kilograms, nearly 3 times the mass of the largest king cobra alive today. It stalked the cold grasslands of northern Greece 4 million years ago, in a climate where most reptiles shrink to survive the winters. Not this one. Modern vipers reach impressive lengths, but stay lean. LAOPHIS was dense, compact, and built like a battering ram with fangs. Scientists classify it as the heaviest venomous snake ever discovered, based on just a handful of fossilized vertebrae. 13 bones. That's all Richard Owen found in 1857, and those 13 bones were enough to describe something with no living equivalent. You think being short means being less. LAOPHIS CROTALOIDES was proof that mass, not length, is what actually kills, but mass alone only takes you so far. The next predator gave up the land entirely and found something far more dangerous. In return, PTEROSPHENUS SCHUCHERTI, 5 to 6 meters, flat body, built for water. PTEROSPHENUS SCHUCHERTI was a giant marine snake of the Eocene epoch, and its fossils have turned up across Egypt, Nigeria, and the Americas. A distribution that means it didn't just live in one ocean, it crossed them, it couldn't move on land at all. Its body had traded legs and terrestrial muscle for a laterally compressed tail that drove it through warm, Eocene seas at speeds no land snake could match. No skull has ever been recovered, which means no one knows for certain whether it was venomous. But every single one of the 62 marine snake species alive today carries venom. The odds are not in your favor. You think losing the land was a limitation. PTEROSPHENUS SCHUCHERTI turned that limitation into a global empire, and while it ruled the oceans, something else in the southern hemisphere was mastering a different kind of power entirely: patience. MADTSOIA BAI, 9 to 10 meters. The length of a city bus. MADTSOIA BAI lived in what is now Patagonia, Argentina, during the Eocene, and it did something no other large predator of its era managed. It survived the mass extinction at the end of the Cretaceous. Not by being fast, not by being armored. It survived because it needed almost nothing. Cold-blooded metabolism, slow digestion, and the ability to go months without eating meant that when the asteroid hit and food chains collapsed worldwide, MADTSOIA simply waited. It outlasted creatures 10 times its weight. When the world recovered, it was still there, and it was hungry. At 9 to 10 meters, it hunted the early crocodilians and large mammals that repopulated South America after the extinction event. You think survivors are the strongest. MADTSOIA BAI proves that sometimes the winner is simply the one who needs the least. But needing little is different from being the largest. In North Africa, something had already claimed that title: GIGANTOPHIS GARSTINI. 11 meters. In what is now Egypt. Gigantophis garstini lived 40 million years ago in the swamps of North Africa, and for over a century after its discovery in 1901, it held the title of the largest snake that ever lived. Paleontologist Charles Andrews pulled its vertebrae from the Al-Fayoum deposits, bones wide enough that early researchers initially misidentified them as belonging to a crocodile. They weren't. At 11 meters and an estimated weight exceeding 100 kilograms, Gigantophis hunted ancient proboscideans, the early relatives of elephants, and shared its habitat with primitive whales. It wasn't an ambush predator hiding in undergrowth. It operated in open water, actively pursuing large prey in a world still reshaping itself after the dinosaurs vanished. You think the apex predator of any era must be fast and venomous. Gigantophis garstini held the top position for 40 million years with nothing but size, muscle, and time. And then, in 2024, a coal mine in India changed everything. VASUKI Indicus, 11 to 15 meters, named after the serpent god of Hindu mythology, the snake that coils around the neck of Shiva himself. VASUKI Indicus was announced to the world in 2024, reconstructed from 27 exceptionally preserved vertebrae pulled from a lignite mine in Kutch, Gujarat, India. It lived 47 million years ago in a tropical swamp where average temperatures hovered around 28 degrees Celsius, a heat engine that pushed cold-blooded metabolism to its absolute ceiling. At its upper estimate of 15 meters, it was longer than a standard city transit bus and likely weighed over 1,000 kilograms. Unlike Titanoboa, which was semi-aquatic, VASUKI Indicus appears to have been primarily terrestrial. It moved across the ground. Every time it did, the earth felt it. You think the largest animal ever found must be ancient history by now. VASUKI Indicus was announced less than 12 months ago. We are still counting what lived here before us. Every snake on this list used a different edge: venom, mass, water, patience, size, or time. None of them needed all of it. That's the part worth sitting with. Evolution doesn't optimize for everything at once. It finds one advantage and pushes it as far as physics allows. These 6 creatures pushed it to the edge of what bone and muscle can sustain. The world that produced them is gone, but the vertebrae are still in the ground, and we keep finding them, which means the list isn't finished. If you want to know what else is still buried out there, subscribe, hit the bell, and tell us in the comments, which of these 6 would you least want to meet in its prime?